Alright guys, it's round 2 of our Star City Games Invitational Qualifier. Both of our players are 1-0 on the left. Stream regular Scotty Wright, who's opted off of his Esper control plans of the last few weeks and months, and has moved into the junk mid-range deck that Reed Duke, I believe, played at the Star City Games Invitational a couple weekends ago. Basically an Abrupt Decay deck with Archangel Thune, Obsidat, and a lot of mid-range goodies. And his opponent is Troy King, one of our regular players in town from college. And he's on Red-Green Devotion that's very similar to the deck Alec Myers plays at our F&M stream each week, which is basically a big red Devotion deck splashing green for Planeswalkers. So turn 2 Ash Zealot into a decision here from Scotty, I guess, if he wants to shock himself and leave a mana up or make a play, or just to use that white-green Temple. He has the option to Temple Thoughtseize here. I don't know what his 2-mana spell is, so we are going to scry first. Always important to sequence correctly. Now that he knows what's coming or isn't coming, can be a little bit more informed on his Thoughtseize. And there is, in fact, Thoughtseize, revealing a hand of Nykthos and 2 lands versus Frostburn Weird and Chandra. Chandra almost certainly going the bin here. Scotty has a Veraskin Obsidat in hand, so it looks like a Devour Flesh too. I can't really see a reason not to take the Chandra. I mean, you could try and play around it. It's not really going to do that much, as Scotty does have Hero's Downfall in hand, I believe. But still just don't want to give Troy the opportunity to get a card off of it. So Troy draws a Stomping Ground off the top, so his draw kind of running out of steam here. Here comes the Frostburn Weird we knew about already, and likely a tap Stomping Ground. Nope. And then Troy playing a Mountain instead, so as to not telegraph to Scotty exactly what he drew. So we know Troy does have a Nykthos here. There's not going to be an opportunity for Scotty to kill either of these creatures ahead of the Nykthos activation. And now the gambit of pumping versus who gets to act last. And then Abrupt Decay is going to answer afterwards. We still drop to 12 off of the Ash Zealot attack. And then replace it with another Frostburn Weird. So Scotty's still in a pretty good spot here. At this point, he's really only got to worry about dragons, which he has answers to. That Obsidat in 2 turns is really going to dig him out of this temporary life loss situation. Troy's serving in with the team here. Pump twice. Scotty's going to Hero's Downfall in response. Troy likely knew that was coming anyway. But Scotty's hand is pretty much loaded to bear with goodies. Shocking ourselves with a Stomping Ground. What does that mean? Domri? No way. Boros Reckoner. And there's a Corsair Crufix. Giant Spider's going to be pretty good. Ugh, Archangel Thune off the top. Corsair's going to do a pretty good job of slowing down this onslaught here. But Scotty is tapped relatively low, and I don't think he has a 5th land in his hand. Can't tell if that's another... yeah, he's... So there's a Fanatic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So put Scotty down to 4 here. Just serving in with the Boros Reckoner. Take 3 or take 2. He goes to 1. So let's see if Scotty can find a 5th land. Well, we know that he's not going to find a 5th land off the top. He needed that land to come off the top there, but could not beat it there. So the top of Troy King's deck pretty good to him there, as he ended up finding a Reckoner, a replacement Frostburn Weird, a Boros Reckoner, and a Fanatic of Magus to lock it up. And Scotty's hand, it's got to be brutal. So underway here in game number 3, Scotty trying to get back even here, as he dropped around game 1 to basically to a Fanatic of Magus and an Ash Zealot that attacked a billion times. From Troy King's Red-Green Devotion deck. I've got Troy's deck list here. Looks like in the sideboard in this matchup he's going to be bringing in the 1 copy of Domri, 3 copies of Mizium Mortars, and that's probably going to be it. He does have access to Anger of the Gods and Searing Blood, but those seem ill-placed in this specific matchup, so probably just going to increase his Planeswalker count and some removal for Coursers, which are pretty tough for him to get through. So a turn 2 Sylvan Caryatid for Scotty, very much a part of his game plan here, as he's going to accelerate into his must answer 4 and 5 drop threats. Then Troy, and adding a 2nd copy as well, so access to likely 6 mana next turn. Troy untaps here with the Frostburn Weird in play. Let's see what he decides to do. Can't make out what the contents of the rest of his hand are. Just serving in and eating one of the Sylvan Caryatids there. And there's a Scavenging Ooze, which incremental life gain off of it. It's not inconsequential. Troy's going to need to draw those sideboard copies of Mizium Mortars to answer these threats, but even then, Scotty's got a ton of threats that aren't answerable by Mizium Mortars, including the Pelucranos, which I believe in his hand, along with Obsidian later in the game. So we'll get in here. We'll offer up a trade if Scotty wants to, if he wants to throw the Caryatid in front of it. He is at 20 life here, so he can't afford to take a hit if he wants to. There's also a very real chance that Troy will not pump the Frostburn Weird if it goes unblocked. Looks like Troy has brought in Searing Blood, which seems very odd. Yeah, don't know why. Looks like a misplay there from Troy. I think you wait until Scotty does that and then respond to the trigger. So, bit of a misstep here from Troy. Let's see if it comes back to bite him, though this game is getting out of control anyway. Looks like we just run out the Pelucranos here. Oh, it's an Archangel as well. Good grief. So serve in for 3. Troy down to 17 here, and then Scotty with an abundance of riches in his hand, deciding which one he wants to do. There's an Archangel. So it's basically have a Mortars or don't at this point. Nykthos and Burning Tree into Overload Mortars is pretty good. There's a Stormbreath Dragon. Can do a fair impression of racing with the Archangel, but not really. There's a Mortars. He has to kill the Archangel now. There's no chance to wait and live the dream of overloading, because they're all going to get out of range too quickly. And Troy likely just pounds in here for the max 4 with his Frostburn Weird and get the race well and truly on. So there is in fact an attack from the Frostburn Weird for the max, putting Scotty down to 14. But we know that Scotty's hand is littered with goodies. Tap 3 mana for a Corsair. There's another Corsair on top. The rich get richer. As Scotty serves in now again. So Troy drawing a lot of lands this game. Not something his deck can in any way take advantage of. There's a Frostburn weird. There is a Storm Breath Dragon. It's going to put Scotty down to 10. I believe we know about a Hero's Downfall in Scotty's hand, so that's likely not going to be that big of an issue. Scotty being able to stabilize this board at very high life total. Duress. Scotty brought in the Duress? I guess for Planeswalkers makes sense. Does Scotty have another copy of Archangel in his hand? He does. Courser, Hero's Downfall, another Archangel, and a Pelucranos. Not too shabby. Just deciding which way to go here. Whatever plan he's on, it needs to involve leaving 3 mana up, 2 of which is black, too. Here's Downfall, that Stormbreath Dragon in response to Monstrous. So that leaves him 3 mana to play another Courser, or he can leave mana up to eat his Angel with the Scavenging Ooze. I think just playing another Courser is probably the play here, and he doesn't do anything. So just sends the turn back here. Troy untaps with a Dragon, a Frostburn Weird, 6 basic lands in hand. He draws a Stomping Grounds off the top. His deck, again, not being very friendly to him whatsoever. There's another Dragon. This was not something I think Scotty's line of play had accounted for. So serving with both. One of them's going to get downfalled. Scotty's just going to take the other 6 now. And, or the other 4, I should say, down to 6. End of turn, we'll eat the Storm Breath. And we might as well eat with our Caryatid the, there's a land. That's going to help. Not sure why Scotty didn't use his Caryatid to eat his Archangel. Might as well use the mana when you have it. And Troy not representing any tricks that would have left him susceptible to getting blown out with his Ooze getting killed. So Scotty in the tank here, he's got a lot of good things to do. He just needs to decide what sequence to do then. He's going to lead off with the Duress, revealing non-dressable, oh my goodness, another Dragon and a Fanatic. Fanatic is good for 5 at this point. The Dragon itself is good for another 4. If Scotty, how can he get out of this? Attack with the Ooze, it's irrelevant. Troy just going to take 4. Take 5. If you play the Archangel here, you're just dead because both the dragons kill you, right? Play the land. Oh, so now he's out of dragon range, okay. So with the Ooze and with the Courser trigger, we go up to 9, so we're safe for the time being. But what if we just monstrous the dragon? That just kills. And Scotty doesn't have a removal spell, so I don't think he has a removal spell, so if Troy just goes monstrous on the dragon, it will be good enough because the 7 of attack plus the Stormseeker for at least 3 here. So it's just a matter of whether or not Troy wants to live on the razor's edge. Scotty is representing Hero's Downfall. He's already used one. So an interesting head game here. Let's see what Troy does. Unless I'm reading Scotty's hand incorrectly, or the life totals, I'm pretty sure Monstrosity activation on the dragon will be good enough, but Troy obviously has to respect Hero's Downfall here. But Scotty cagey enough not to play his not to play out his hand here. He's going to serve in. He doesn't go for it. And the Fanatic is lethal too, so I guess there was no way Scotty was coming out of that one. I'm putting way more emphasis on that play than it needed to be. But I guess the Fanatic, if we kill the Storm Breath in response, is only good for 3, and Scotty still survives. So Troy just decided to go with the line that puts another body on board. If you're going to lose the removal spell there, or if the removal spell is going to keep him from winning, might as well get a body on board. So Troy, in 2 relatively quick games, overcomes 3 Archangels drawn by the Junk deck. Scotty never able to cast his Obsdat in game 1. Courser getting some incremental advantage, but not enough. So Troy moves on to 2-0, and Scotty's going to have to start battling his way back.